Patrick Beatty reviews the #1 for news. It's Patrick Beatty reviews #1 for news. Yeah, tune in, get up. Yeah, what's up?
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What is up, my Gaggle of Geeks, and welcome to my review of the Netflix documentary Murder Among the Mormons. So actually, I need to change my stuff over for this. All of this is going to be edited out in post. Shoot. Hang on, folks. And we do this. All right. Can we start over again? Welcome to my review of Murder Among the Mormons. This is a documentary that's revolving around the true crimes, basically following Mark Hoffman, one of the most notable foregoers in history, who created like forgeries from the Latter-day Saints, from history from him, known most famously for the Salamander letter, which, if you know anything about Mormon doctrine or have researched anything as far as Mormonism goes, I guess we're going to get into a lot of stuff with this. So this is kind of a retelling or reimagining that's forged by Mark Hoffman about the origins of the Mormons' Book of Mormon. So that's basically their doctrine, what they follow. And this is basically a look into a series of bombings that happened back during, let me make sure I've got the right times for this. Back in 86, I believe, a series of bombings that happened in Salt Lake. And I'm sure a lot of people that I know that I am friends with were involved with this. Even when I was watching this documentary, there's streets and places where some of these explosions were set off that I lived in Salt Lake, in downtown Salt Lake. It was just right there next to you. So this is basically about those forgeries, about that time, and the exploration into really how easily people can be believing in something, and second, kind of a catch me if you can look at Mark Hoffman. I think there's no doubt that the documentary does paint him as a horrible person, which he is in the end with what he does. But at the same time, there's something that they kind of glorify as far as his brilliance for being able to make these forgeries and sell these things that were completely different from anything else that was possible. I think that there's a lot to say about this, particularly in my instance, for a couple reasons. Number one, I grew up in Utah. If you watch me and you're not familiar with where I'm from or anything, I grew up LDS, so I grew up with a Mormon background. I'm not an LDS member anymore. And so that gives me a different perspective when it comes to this type of situation, because when you leave the church, there's definitely different reactions that you can get from it. Some can be you're doing it based off of doctrine that isn't true, like the Mark Hoffman letters, or some people do it for cultural reasons. Some people do it because they've researched the doctrine and just don't really believe it anymore, or see contradictions or things like that. So when it comes to this is something that I mean, if anybody could pull like something to show a member leaving or something like that, to say, look, this stuff is fake, this isn't real, follow like the actual doctrine. This is a prime example of that. I think at the end of the day, they portray the church pretty much in the sense that I think you would. There is kind of a little bit of a revelation regarding Gordon B. Hinckley, who I grew up with as the prophet, and still remember all the songs and stuff. And it's interesting to see some of the actions taken at that time in a legal sense from the church. Is very much kind of a business reaction is what it seemed like. But there are some interesting things that can be said about it, and about the power of what somebody believes to be true versus whether it is, and how much you want to believe something. And people were looking for anything to validate anything or or invalidate that. They would pay millions of dollars to get a piece of history. But what if that's been forged the entire time? It's a fascinating documentary. The guy himself is this is the other horrible thing. I live literally next door to the prison where he's being held. So this is all like Oh, okay. So I lived over there where the bombs went off, and now I'm living right next door to them. All right. That's no worries. No worries. Yikes. But that is my kind of long review on this. I do think it's worth checking out. It's got a lot of fascinating things if you've been interested in the LDS Church or the Mormon faith. I do think in the end of the day, they're not portraying the LDS Church in a bad light. They're just basically showing all of the sides of what happened at this point. And I do believe that in a sense, if the church were trying to avoid getting things that were inauthentic or not authentic, that they would try to buy it or take it and take it out of the print. But I mean, now with this day and age with technology, that's basically impossible. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see what people that aren't familiar with the church think about this, as well as people that are still in the religion. What you think about it? How do you think they portrayed the people, the interviewers, all of that information? Thank you again so much as always for watching, and I will see you at the next review.